Hi everyone, Blessed here. Thank you so much for being here and welcome back to my channel. So we're still in the book of Esther and we've come to the last chapter. Last week we did an episode on Esther chapter 4. Today we are in Esther chapter 10, and I would like to do this speaking to the government leaders, because we are in the government. We have a government in Kenya, and like me, I'm hoping to join the government and I know my honestly prayer will be answered. So Esther chapter 10 verse 2 and 3 is talking about Mordecai. We started with the episode where everything was happening. Vashti was going down. Esther was being promoted by God. Mordecai, the cousin to Esther, is the one who God is using to guide Esther as a parent. So chapter 10 verse 2 and 3 says, and all the acts of his power, we are talking about King Ahasuerus here, and of his might, and the declaration of the greatness of Mordecai, whereunto the king advanced him, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Media and Persia? For Mordecai the Jew was next unto King Ahasuerus, and great among the Jews, and accepted of the multitude of his brethren, seeking the wealth of his people, and speaking peace to all his seed. All his seed means the Jews. You see, the Jews, the descendants of the Jews, the ones they were giving birth to, and the ones those people are giving birth to, generally, the Jews at large. So, something interesting came to view. We started interacting with Mordecai while he was at the gate of the palace. That is where he was working from. He was a gate man. And then he had this information where a virgin was being sought to replace the wife, the outgoing wife. And by the grace of God, God had marked out Esther to come and be now the queen. After all the preparations, she gained favor with the king and she was promoted to become the queen. What is interesting to me is how God uses the position of Mordecai to give spiritual guidance to Esther, and the parental direction on how Esther needs to conduct herself in the palace. First, she was told by Mordecai, don't reveal your identity, don't reveal who you are. Who does that if not a parent's insight, And number two, Mordecai gave her a caution, like, don't ever think like we will not get help, number one. Number two, don't ever think, well, the Jews are being destroyed, that you'll be spared. It's only a parent who can do that, and this gives leverage to our born again parents and our spiritual parents. That oversight over us when you're being brought up spiritually is very, very much important. So what happened when Haman now was killed, the enemy of the Jews was done away with. Mordecai is promoted, and Mordecai takes the place of Haman. See God, promotion. Number two, they overrule everything that Haman had written concerning the Jews. Number three, the Bible gives us an insight on what happened to Mordecai. Mordecai became so great amongst the Jews. Wherever he was placed, the place of his rulership, he used it well. And that is where the government leaders, I wanted honestly to speak to them today. The king advanced him, and his name and records were written in the book of the kings of Media and Persia. He's not a king in matters title, but in matters function, he's actually functioning as a king. You need to see that, so that you get an insight of whatever Mordecai was suggesting, whatever Mordecai and Esther were collaborating to do in the kingdom. The signet ring being given to them was the thing that signed or gave them a right to exercise every dominion that they had. This is very important to us as Christians. We shouldn't say that we we don't have a voice, we need to occupy certain positions. You can actually be in the government and not have that title that you have in your mind, but God gives you wisdom such that people will not go elsewhere to look for advice. They will come for you. That means it is you actually who God is giving the leverage to be sitting incognito in a certain seat of government, where when someone needs to execute, they cannot execute without you giving them a yes. You understand? So that means that in the mind, in the heart of God, it is you who is ruling. This is very profound. So the greatness of Mordecai comes to view. He was accepted. He had favor with the multitude of his brethren. Why? He sought the wealth of his people, and he spoke peace to all his seed. This is very important. Honestly, advising governments or the people who are ruling in the government. Could we change the narrative of the people who have been given these positions, either elected or appointed? Honestly, we need to change the bad narrative and seek the wealth of Kenyans. By seeking the wealth of Kenyans, even you and your family are preserved. Number two, speaking peace to all his seed. We know that a country like Kenya, to be able to be a world ruler, to be able to execute the American dream, to be able to execute the Ethiopian dream, to be able to advise the South African government, to be able to be an advisory to the United Nations. You know, as Kenya, I'm talking about Kenya because this is who God has prepared us to become. While we become all that, we cannot function if there is no peace in this nation. So the people who are seeking peace and the people who are seeking the wealth of this nation are very paramount. And God is seeking us out, by the way. God is calling us out from our different functions, from our different places, from our different locations. God is looking for us. Who He will place us in the government, and we will be play the advisory role in the government, such that we will download the heart, the mind of God concerning any execution of any matter, when the good of Kenyans is in our hearts. You understand? That is how God's business is executed. When you know the heart, the mind of God concerning Kenya, and executing the good of Kenya into any decision, such that Kenya, we will be functional even to lead other nations, when ourselves we have dealt with the little foxes of corruption, and they're bad, they're vices. Corruption and unemployment, they are big vices in our Kenyan society. So if you are out there, I know God is searching out for you, the person who the wellness of Kenyans is in your heart, so that the functionality of Kenyans will appreciate being in Kenya. Kenya is a beautiful, great country, and God is seeking us out. So I know someone will just call me and interview me for a position in government. I am in. I will qualify. And us who are out there, other people who we have the heart. Kenya is in our hearts, and the good of Kenya is what we are after. So listen to me, government officials. This is the heart of God concerning the leadership of taking Kenya forward to be the world ruler. Enjoy your evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are. God bless you. We meet next time. Bye.